Well, today I did a little stucco patch up, and there was a hole right here, and I patched it up and blended it in. Then I painted it with white cement. I'm going to show you how I did it. Well, today all we're doing is a little patch up here. These are steps. Steps are out in the weather, and they get beat up. So all we're going to do is, just like a dentist, get rid of all the loose stuff. I'm not going to make a project out of it, and just patch it up. That's it. So this is about as far as we're going. The other stuff is pretty solid. A little piece over here, that's good. A piece over here, a little piece here. So now I'm just going to get the cement and cement it up. Now I'm actually mixing the cement at my house. What I'm using is 4 of this, what we call sea sand, or I call it silica sand. You see it? 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is what they call Portland cement. It's white Portland cement. It comes in white. I'm going to use a full one of these. Right there, that's 1. And this is what they call S-mortar. Now that's a big joke as far as I'm concerned, because all they did was take regular mortar and add a little bit of Portland to it, which the old timers did all the way. And 1 of them did all the time. And then we're just going to mix it up. Just like that. Add the water to it. Just like that. Mix it up. That's it. Pretty much ready. Now we're going to put it on the wall. Nowadays they do a pre-mix too. If you wanted to use this, it's a pre-mix. It has the cement and the sand is added to it. And sometimes I'll use this, but the reason I did the traditional way is because I can make a paint out of it. Now, like I always say, I get a little water and I wet it first. Because wetting is what makes it stick. Alright, so we got that wet. Up in there, down here, and down there. So a lot of times I just, instead of mixing a paint, just put a little water in there, get the paintbrush, make a little paint out of it, and then come up here and just make a little paint. That, I'm telling you, it gets in there, it's going to make it stick a little better. So that's what I'm doing. So when you're painting it, what you're doing is you're getting in all those nooks and crannies. That's going to keep it from falling off because it's sticking. You see, you want it to stick. Get up there in all those nooks and crannies. Then, that's going to stick. Just like that. No big deal. Same thing with the patches. Just put little stuff in there, patch it up, like that. Then Get the sponge and some water, like I always do. Just kind of go over it. Blend it in. Do your corners first. Get these parts. These are the parts I'm after. So you can rub it all in there. Fill those holes up. Just like that. Flatten it out. Like that. Real soft. Hiding all that stuff. So it's a little wet. See, that's wet yet. I'm gonna wait. When you're going around the edges, you gotta blend it in. Blend it all in. I'm gonna let that sit. Gotta go to another job and come back. Now, this lady called me up and she's so worried about this little thing here. She just wants me to patch it up. I told her it's useless, but I'll do it anyway. So, like a dentist, get it out. Get the steel brush. A little water. Wet it up a little bit. Boom, boom, boom. Do my little paintbrush thing. Yeah, get that in there good. A little patch on it. Like that. No big deal. Get my little sponge. Sponge it down. It's an old stone foundation. Whatever I do is going to end up the same way. So I'm not too worried about it. Just making it look like the rest of it. That's it. Now here is like one of the biggest mistakes in masonry. They get concrete and they get blacktop, and then they put a patch between the blacktop and this plaster. Then the winter comes and they move, and then what happens is they all crack up like this. It's a never-ending battle. That's why I use that seal. The only thing I could do is just patch it. I told her next year the same thing's going to happen, no matter what you do here. See, I'm just patching up the holes, that's all. I'm not making a big deal out of it. It's only going to come back. So then we just run the sponge over it, and it's better than it was. No big deal. It's only going to break up again anyway, but she'll be happy. Now if you happen to get a little bit of white cement on blacktop, wait a little while and then just get a brush, steel brush, and it'll come right off. See that? It comes right off of there. Oh, now I'm back here, about an hour and a half later. I'm going to make a little splash. Oh, that's what I'm doing. Just making a little splash like that. And then what I do is I dip my brush in the splash like that. So to match all this, I'm just going to throw a little splash on it like that. See that?
Oh, yeah.
It's going to match it all up. No big deal.
Oh.
See that? Matches it all up.
Very nice.
Okay.
That looks just like it was always there.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. Now we're just gonna wait a day or two and paint the whole thing. That's it. No big deal.
Oh.
Right. All right. I think that's it. It blends right in there with the other stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Okay, we're coming back a couple days later, and it blended in nice. Looks like the rest of it. You can see where these cracks right didn't touch it up. But now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to whitewash the whole thing. I'm going to make myself a paint. And all I'm going to do is get a trowel full of white mortar and a trowel full of Portland. And don't forget what I told you. This mortar is just mortar with Portland in it. Big joke. Then I'm going to make a paint out of that. Ready. So now I'm just going to add some water to that white cement and mix it up into a paint. That's all I'm doing. See, I'm mixing it into a paint until I get it where I wanted to get it. Just like a milkshake. That's all I'm doing. There we go. And I mix it into a paint like that. I'm letting this down because we're gonna paint it with Portland, maybe a little mortar. So we gotta have it wet because concrete is not waterproof. It's gotta sink in there. So now we're just gonna paint this with that paint, and this is all gonna blend in. It's all gonna look good.
Yes, it is.
Just like we weren't even here. And if it isn't wet enough, get your sprayer, put a little more water in it, keep going. That's done. See that? Hides all them spots. So now I came back over here. Just gonna patch that up a little bit. Make it look all the same. You see that? I'm going to talk about this job a little bit. These are stucco patches over masonry. So when I mixed it, I mixed 2 parts white sand, or they call it silica sand. Some people call it sea sand. And I mixed 2 parts white sand and then 1 part Portland. And half of it was Portland and half of it was S mortar. Now in our area, if I did that with just mortar, it'd blister right off. It'd take 3-4 years, I'd be back over there. I'm a big fan of Portland. I know the experts say different, but I've been doing this 50 years. This is the way I do it. You always got to wet it first, and you see me stick that paintbrush in there and paint around the sides. Now the reason I didn't make a paint for that, like a Portland paint, is if you do that, that paint will bleed around the sides and leave like a halo. That's the reason I did that. You'd have to do it for a while to understand it. Sponges. I always get my sponges from old couch sheets and everything, and I rip a piece right off, and it's perfect. Don't go buying sponges. Then the second job I went, that's an old stone foundation, and it blistered off. It blisters off. So that's why over in Europe, if you've ever seen all my stuff in Europe, they always just do the same thing. You don't see wire mesh or anything. Over masonry, you should put masonry over masonry. Sometimes you have to put wire mesh, but not in this case. When people go and they pour concrete, and they're pouring it against stucco, I always put this stuff against it, because we live in Pennsylvania, and our winters will push the concrete up and down. And that's what happens with those foundations. And then they come in between the foundation and the concrete or the blacktop. They put like a patch, and when it moves in the winter, it breaks it all apart. Practice, practice, practice. If you're ever going to do stucco, get an old block or an old paper or a piece of cardboard and stick it in there and practice. You got to throw it and flip it like that, and then you'll see it come off. You just don't throw it. You got a little thing, so you practice with that. Painting with Portland. I did a video called Painting with Portland, Whitewash and Bonding, Mike Haduck. That's all I did, just like an old Tom Sawyer. The old timers would never buy paint. They just get lime or they get cement, whitewash, and they whitewash everything. It still works today. It's a lot cheaper than regular paint. You can always keep going over it. Now when you see me doing these stucco videos, I'm not the type of stucco guy that does a lot around houses or anything. It's mostly over masonry work. That's why you don't see me using a hock or anything. That's for other guys. That trade is so much different from my trade. It's like an ear doctor between an eye doctor. It's different, but they kind of intermingle a little bit. So thanks for watching. Check out my playlist on my channel. It's different foundation repair or plaster or stucco. There's different playlists for that stuff, and a lot of these techniques kind of intertwine. So until next video, I'm Mike Haduck. That's it.